Hi, my name is William Lawson, and I'm running for first vice chair of the Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee. Now, it is because our friend Chris Slosky is exploring new territories, and we wish Chris well in his new endeavors, uh, just like anybody would who has seen someone do a fabulous job where they are, and when they think that it's time to go other places and do other things, we want to wish them well, and we wish Chris well in his new endeavors, and we hope that whatever he finds there is not only good for him, but good for his family. And it leaves this opening, this opportunity for somebody else. It's always good. We talk about the Republican Party all the time in a way that sometimes isn't the most positive, because oftentimes there are so many people who are already helping, who are already in the tube, so to speak, that there isn't sometimes opportunity for other people. So this is good in the sense that now this offers an opportunity for somebody else to step up and into a position that will make a difference in the future of the Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee. And that's what we offer, and that's what we're trying to do. I want to take a little different approach to the Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee than might have been taken in the past. I understand fully the reason why you have a Republican Executive Committee. The idea is purely to get Republicans elected, especially in your sphere of influence. So our sphere of influence is Hillsborough County. Our job as a committee is to do what we can to turn Hillsborough red, is to get Republican candidates up and down the ballot elected to office. That's our job. And I am dedicated to that job. However, what I want to do, maybe that's a little differently. I want to change a mindset. I want to have a little paradigm shift, is that yes, we move from election cycle to election cycle, but we have a problem. We're not growing. You know what? I once learned in an event I went to, this line: if you're not flying, you're dying. So things don't just stay the same. They either get better or you suffer entropy, where things go from order to disorder. We have to grow to win. There really isn't any way around it. We have to grow to win. So we have to look, yes, first from election cycle to election cycle, every 2-4 years, and the midterms, which include things like mayoral elections, city council elections, school board elections. All those things are important. But more than that, I think that we have to start looking long term, generationally. How can we be successful not just this election cycle, but 2016, 2018, 2020, 22, 24, and into the next generation? How do we maintain that level of success? We have to think differently. We have to start thinking both long-term and short-term. Yes, we have short-term goals that lead to long-term ideals. We have long-term ideals that come out in our short-term goals. And that's what I hope to offer the Republican Executive Committee here in Hillsborough County, that we start thinking a little differently, that we start thinking not just from candidate to candidate and from election to election, but long-term, generationally, because we need to make generational change. If we look at what's going on in our country, it is important not just to get the right person for right now, but to get the right people generationally to make the changes that we need in our government on every level, the federal, state, and local level. That's what we have to be about. And in order to do that, we have to think about things a little differently. We have to think about how we find candidates differently, how we vet candidates differently, how we support candidates differently, how we raise funds differently, how we hold on to funds, how we expend funds, how we get support, the sort of electronic tools that we use, what we do with our people resources. Everything has got to switch from just a short-term 2 to 4 year cycle to a generational cycle. Do we start thinking about how we are going, what we're doing now is going to impact Hillsborough County and the state of Florida in 10 years and 15 years and 20 years. That's the sort of generational change that we need. That's the sort of thinking that we have to grasp and have to embrace. Because if we don't, then it's this mad dash led to every election cycle with no long-term goals. What kind of businesses could exist if there wasn't a long-term goal, if there wasn't a 5-year or a 10-year plan? I would like to institute inside the Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee a 5-year, a 10-year plan that we can look to, that we can have goals that we can look to, especially when it comes to growing our numbers. It doesn't matter if we're the big tent party if there's no one in the tent. Right now, we're the empty tent party. We need to grow the party, not just in some willy-nilly, and there's no pun intended, some willy-nilly sort of sparkle now, getting people to switch just to show a number for now, but to reach out and infuse ourselves in the communities to where there are communities here in Hillsborough County that will understand that the Republican Party is indeed their political heritage. That this is where they're supposed to be, and the reason they're unhappy where they are is that they were never supposed to be there. They're unhappy as Democrats because they were never supposed to be there. That their political home is here in the Republican Party. And that's a long-term goal that's got to happen, not just election cycle to election cycle, but generationally. We have got to invoke a plan that does that on a generational term, that we don't get just voters for this time, that we get voters for all time. That's the sort of change that I want to bring to the Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee. I trust that you will be at the meeting on September 15th at the Museum of Science and Industry, where we're going to have our vote, and I trust that you will support me. I trust that I'm asking this evening that you vote for me. My name is Willie Lawson, WillieLawson. I appreciate it. Thank you for spending a little time with me this evening, or this morning, and whenever you're doing it. And if you have any questions, drop me an email at wls860@gmail.com. wls860@gmail.com. You can give me a call at 813-842-1428. Thank you again. Until I see you, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you.